I begin to concentrate into Savitri. I'm held by Mother's love. There is a thick white blanket around me. I'm cuddled in the middle of a whitish golden flame of soul's aspiration in her love. And in my heart, that flame is awake. Book 3, the Book of the Divine Mother, Canto 4, the Vision and the Boon, page 344, beginning of the page. The massive barrier breakers of the world. The massive barrier breakers of the world. The wrestlers with destiny in her lists of will. The laborers in the quarries of the gods. The messengers of the incommunicable. The architects of immortality. All of us searching the purpose of our lives have received just the most apt response from Savitri. The massive barrier breakers of the world. Which are these barriers? Which are these resistances? Which are these chains? There are chains inside of us. The chains of our impulses, the chains of our desires, the chains of our attachment, the chains of our subconscious, inconscient memory, the chains of our ego, the chains of our need to prove ourselves, the chains of our narrowness, the chains of our inadequacies, and then the chains of the collective, the chains of the social norms, which are no longer relevant or applicable or living. The chains of everything that belongs to the past, that is meant to fall away, that is meant to fall apart, and yet we tend to carry it. And we are the hero warriors of the Mother, the massive barrier breakers of the world that break through all the barriers with massiveness of strength. The wrestlers with destiny in her lists of will. The ones who challenge the fate and destiny that follows the chain of events as propelled by the lower nature, by invoking through tapasya and surrender the Shakti, the Mother, the higher nature, the higher power at work. One wrestles with fate, like the fate of the body is to eventually die. But the spirit is immortal, the spirit is eternal. And the more and more the spirit is lit in the temple of the body, the more and more the body is molded and made in the image of the spirit. And that is how one challenges, one wrestles with fate and destiny. The laborers in the quarries of the gods, the quiet servants, the workers in the quarries of the gods, underground, hidden from the eyes of the world, there is a divine work which is happening. And quietly, the servants, the laborers, the volunteers are working in those quarries of the gods. On the surface, there is a lot of chatter and chat, but the true work is being done behind the surface. The true work of evolution of consciousness, individual and collective, is happening quietly behind the scenes. Like they say, the wise men will keep talking while the work gets done. The messengers of the incommunicable, that which is impossible to communicate through words. We may use one word after another word after another word, and yet fail to express that which absolutely cannot be communicated. But through them, the children of the mother, the Saraswati sits on one's mouth, and they become the messengers of the incommunicable, the rishis whose words are powerful and potent and living, and has the power to bring alive the deeper truth in action. The architects of immortality. The architects of immortality. Whatever they create in their action through their word upon earth, it becomes immortal. Even in the physical world, if you see, there are buildings that are mortal, and then there are buildings that are timeless. Our personalities are also like a building which has an architecture, and either we can be something whilst we are here on earth that is limited, that is mortal, that is one like the many, or that itself can become timeless and immortal. Into the fallen human sphere they came, faces that wore the immortal's glory still. And yet one has to enter. One has to enter into the fallen human sphere. And that is the ultimate sacrifice of the integral yoga that embraces all life as yoga. One enters into the fallen human sphere. One enters into pain and suffering. Like every avatar that has existed on earth, like Shiva who drank the pain of the world, the poison of the world, and took it into his neck. Like Jesus, the messenger of love who sacrificed himself. Like Savitri, despite being the symbol of divine love, entered into the common suffering and pain of the world and made it her own and transformed it. The yogi in integral yoga is the one who embraces all life, makes it in its suffering and strife as one's own, and transform it within itself. What a sacrifice that is. And one does it even without any awareness or acknowledgement from humanity at large. Humanity is struggling with its own ignorance, with its own pain and suffering, does not even realize the sacrifice that is made. So one enters into the fallen human sphere, and yet one wears the immortal's glory, faces that wore the immortal's glory still, despite of doing cleaning like rag pickers into the inconscient, cleaning into the subconscient, and yet carrying that sparkle of the divine, that sparkle of the eternity into one's eyes. Voices that commune still with the thoughts of God. Voices that commune still with the thoughts of God. Bodies made beautiful by the Spirit's light. These days, there is a lot of focus on health and fitness. And it is important, it's preparatory, it helps develop. But what is this body which is made beautiful by the Spirit's light? Not via gym, by the Spirit's light. And the most beautiful part about these lines is, Mother says there are two movements in yoga. One is the movement of peace, another is the movement of progress. And majority seek peace, hardly anybody seeks progress. And here in these lines, one seeks progress, which is why one willingly enters into the fallen human sphere. And yet the Tej, the ojas one is able to carry by the Spirit's light, carrying the magic word, the mystic fire, carrying the Dionysian cup of joy, approaching eyes of a diviner man, lips chanting an unknown anthem of the soul, feet echoing in the corridors of time. The massive barrier breakers of the world, the wrestlers with destiny in her lists of will, the laborers in the quarries of the gods, the messengers of the incommunicable, the architects of immortality. Into the fallen human sphere they came, voices that wore the immortal's glory still, voices that commune still with the thoughts of God, voices that commune still with the thoughts of God. How wonderful, how beautiful would our speech be? Not just the speech that we speak in the outside world, but also the speech that we speak in the inside world. How beautiful it would be if that could commune with the thoughts of God. Then one can read the life divine within, one can read the Savitri within. And this is one reason why Sri Aurobindo's all writings are so beautiful. Because they are born out of a communion with the thoughts of God. And how beautiful it would be if our own thoughts are made with a communion with the thoughts of God. Bodies made beautiful by the Spirit's light. And this is so beautiful. You know, there are people who take care of their bodies and who make health as an aim in its own regard. But here, it's being talked about that somebody who falls into, who takes upon the human lot of pain and suffering, and yet is lit by the spirit within, and allows that to ignite the body and make it beautiful. And that's very different. That's very different than pursuing a glowing skin for its own sake. To carry the load of the world in oneself, and the ojas born from the spirit as a sparkle in the eye, as a radiance on the face. Carrying the magic word of Savitri, the mystic fire of the soul sitting within. Carrying the Dionysian cup of joy and delight of the soul, approaching eyes of a diviner man. Lips chanting an unknown anthem of the soul. Feet echoing in the corridors of time. Feet echoing in the corridors of time.